Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. Let me talk to you. So I just finished watching Twisters, the remake, and it sparked the interest in me to do a video, but not necessarily talking about the film as a review, but more so the commentary around what people say nowadays as remakes or reimagining for the modern audiences. Now, don't get me wrong, the film itself was absolutely amazing. The cast was great. Glenn Powell did an amazing job. You had the soundtrack. The soundtrack has given me some very much more appreciative measures for some of the great country artists out there. The one that I have absolutely fallen in love with from this soundtrack is No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs. Great banger of a song, great banger of a film. And one thing that struck me the most about this film is that it did not tarnish the original. Now, when it came out, I had heavy skepticism about going to see this film. Wasn't interested at all. I thought it was going to fall right in line with everything that has came out from Hollywood that they remade for the modern audience. There's a long list, and the one that keeps coming to my mind, the one that I have the most passion and disdain for, is Ghostbusters 2016. That was remade for modern audience, and it was complete failure and disregard for everything that came before it. And I thought the same with this one. I'm seeing this trailer and I'm like, this is Twisters, but it's not. And I'm like, well, did we need another movie like this? Did we need to remake Twisters? The first Twisters was still and always will be an absolute, I guess, classic of a film. Super good. Even for what one would say passes for as kind of terrible graphics and CGI and visuals compared to the modern standard. You know, technology has came a long way, and even now that film still holds up. There's a lot of films like that still hold up due to the use of practical effects, something that Hollywood has gone away from. Everything's CGI, and you can see it so much with especially the Marvel things. Everything's green screen from start to finish. And you can kind of feel that in the performance. Even when I'm talking to, or even when you listen at the actors talk about the film, how hard it is to do in front of just a green screen, because you have to pretend. Practical effects are what drives the emotions in a more natural way, drives the performance in a more natural way. And Hollywood has definitely gone away from that. And granted, there's some CGI in this film. I mean, it's a film about tornadoes, so you can't destroy a whole city and use that 100% for practical effects. But overall, the film did everything right. And if this was the style of films that we would get from the remakes for modern audience, I wouldn't be so worried about some of the other things. Now, Beetlejuice is one of the next ones that comes to mind. Now, it's not really a remake, it's a sequel, you know, decades later. But the good thing is it's Tim Burton is him in that. So I really think that this is going to be just a good continuation. It remains to be seen of how much influence that Hollywood has on the Beetlejuice sequel going into it. But everything around us, from TV shows to movies after movies after movies, when you hear that tagline for modern audience, you automatically check yourself out, because all they're doing is checking boxes. I wish that films that they want to update for modern audience comes out like Twisters did. It didn't tarnish the original. It added a little bit more depth when it comes to just the story. You know, there's a lot more lost. The impact of the tornadoes on just the population was more prominent in this remake, and it told a deeper story. And there were some elements from this film that paid homage to the original. You know, the first film was just them trying to figure out how a tornado forms. The second, or remake for modern audience, was more so trying to disperse how to deal with a tornado. And the stories mirrored a little bit of each other similarly, but they were vastly different. And the way they were paced and the way the story was told was vastly different, but you got the same outcome. An absolute great, great film across the board. So we got a couple things coming out. Beetlejuice, you got Aliens. Those are the two things that are prominent in my mind right now for things that I grew up on that they're remaking right now. Hopefully, Beetlejuice is good. I'm not sold on Aliens right now. It looks decent enough to go to the film and possibly enjoy, but the trailers feel like just a ripoff of what the originals were. There wasn't anything that made it stand out differently. And again, it's only a trailer. We'd have to wait until the actual film releases to judge it for itself on its own merit. And that's the thing that I try to do on this channel, is judge things on its own merit. But sometimes you run into overlap, and this was kind of one of those things. But man, if you hadn't seen Twisters, definitely should. I highly recommend it. I was going into it with low expectations, and I would even say that really didn't affect my enjoyment of the film, me going into this movie with low expectations, because it was just good all around. Everything about it was good, and it was paced very well, and I didn't leave the theater bored at all. I was actually more intrigued as the story went on. But just, you know, this is just a video about some commentary surrounding around the modern audience things, and how much that I wish this wasn't the case for a lot of these films, that they came out more so in line with the way Twisters didn't tarnish the original, added to the story. The actors were more about the story itself, not anything to do with their sexuality, not anything to do with their race, gender, none of that. This was a story about people trying to live their life and figure out how to stop the destruction that tornadoes are. Great film, great soundtrack, great cast. Hopefully more of the films that drop later on in the year throughout time that they update for modern audience stick to this style of formula. But that's easier said than done. Until next time, guys, my name's Lincoln. This has been an RPG show. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Let me know what you guys thought about Twisters if you've seen it. Give me some commentary on what you think about and how you feel about the modern audience updates for these films. Until next time, guys, like, comment, sub, and I'm out. Peace.